everybody, Gavin here. Welcome back to another video. We're watching new Rockstars breakdown on the first episode of Loki today. The Easter eggs, the details we missed, the thumbnails. Peggy, I've seen Peggy trending on Twitter everywhere. Everyone thinks that girl in the background is Peggy. I don't know yet. I want to see Erik Voss's opinion on this. I want to see what he thinks about the first episode. I know he's seen 2 episodes so far. He is a little bit ahead, but he's only gonna, no spoilers for the second episode. He's just gonna be talking about the first one, hopefully. I mean, he wouldn't spoil the second episode. He literally can't do that. But I want to hear his opinion on Miss Minutes, because we had some theories going in our video that she might not be who she says she is. All this could be like fake. Miss Minutes might not be a good person. The whole TVA might not be good people, or they might have good intentions, but the timekeepers themselves might not be good. I want to hear everything. Let's just get into it. It's 27 minutes. It's gonna be a long one. Erik Voss, thank you. Here we go. We did watch his breakdowns when we were watching WandaVision back then, so you can go check out my reactions to some of those. And yeah, let's hop into it. All right, we drop a like, we go full screen, boom.
I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of Marvel's Loki, episode 1, in which the God of Mischief learns he's just one Infinity Stone in a big box. From the many MCU callbacks to a cartoon I hope you're all taking notes during.
True, that cartoon,
So I'm gonna break this
I hear theories that the timekeepers are Wanda, Loki, and Doctor Strange, which they do look like them, which is kind of crazy.
When we last saw him in Avengers Endgame. Actually, this shot is the same exact establishing shot used in Endgame, but with the portal beam, the Chitauri, and a few explosions removed now that the battle's over. And listen to this 4-note chime the episode opens with. Yeah, this is directly from the Endgame score, when Tony snuck back into the tower.
Oh yeah. Very sneaky, mischievous.
Flicker in, folding down from the middle, just like the split flap display on old train station signs, matching the overall analog production design of the TVA, as if they're flipping back.
I really like the design of the TVA. It's kind of like, I don't know what time era it is, but at least the Miss Minutes cartoon and everything, it's kind of like 70s maybe. Uphead style.
On my way down to coordinate search and rescue.
Yeah, notice how in this new take, Loki's Cap impression is more robotic and less of these.
That's a little zoomed in more.
It's just an example of how we are already seeing variations to what we saw before.
Oh, true.
Focused on, they kept in Ant-Man. He's still barely visible, running up Tony's arm as he closes.
Oh wow.
So then
dude, dang, Erik Voss really went frame by frame on this.
Listen to its sound.
Wow.
And now it's a much fuller choral chime compared to the sound we heard in Endgame. Showing how, for Loki, this Tesseract is still a sacred key to the God-King status that he seeks. But later on, as he realizes this theater stone is literally one of an infinite amount of these rocks,
could be some production design, sound design thing. I don't think they recreated those scenes.
Loki zips away with the space stone, leaving Thor's voice calling out in the void.
Where's Loki? Loki?
Yeah.
Also taken from Endgame in the background.
Where's Loki? Loki?
This panic tells us that Loki just created a disrupted history, displacing himself from his destined historical path of accompanying Thor back to Asgard as he was supposed to. This is why Loki is a variant in violation of the TVA's sacred timeline. By teleporting with the Space Stone, he didn't go back in time or enter any new reality, but he did warp this history, causing it all to break.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering as well. Did he just go back in time? What exactly did he do?
Those branches were erased. However, Cap returning the Tesseract in 1970 would not have erased Loki's theft in 2012, leaving him as the one lingering paradox that the TVA is super pissed off about.
And then that can create more branches of itself and just keep branching out and make them, like Miss Minutes said, a multiverse of madness, which is exactly what's gonna happen.
Upside down in a droplet of water, recalling this Loki's recent arrogance.
An ant has no quarrel with a boot.
Of course, threw back at his face later in that movie.
Ant. Boot.
And now this pompous god is about to get stomped back down to Earth as an insect compared to the might of the TVA. And in this shot, the camera pushes in on Loki's crash landing in the sand, recalling the shot of Iron Man's crash landing in the first Iron Man.
Oh.
A similar tale of an ego
Kind of similar, actually very similar.
his actions, transitioning from a violent villain to just a mischievous hero. Since remember, this is the 2012 era Loki, not the nicer guy that he evolved to be in the later films, though this episode does kind of get him close to it via...
Yeah, he does get close to it, as I said in my... I'm gonna pause it. He could still become that person that we see in like Thor Ragnarok and later films. And like that Loki could have maybe experienced all this. Like this Loki goes back, gets reset to where he is, but he keeps all of the memories from the TVA and his experience here, and then is good for the rest of time after this. If that makes sense to you. That's probably not what happens. But it's a theory.
Marvel time cops. They prosecute timeline violators with an army of Minutemen, foot soldiers, chronomonitors, and judges. Representing them now is Hunter B-15. Her scanner labels Loki as
I want to write her down. I didn't write Hunter B-15.
Units drop from 5 towards 0, meaning their whole sacred timeline is always just 5, whatever these units are, away from branches veering into redline territory, showing how delicate this timeline really is. The TVA's weapons are these glowing batons.
What is redline territory too? Because I did talk about that a little bit, but I didn't explain it.
Uses in the comics to erase people from existence, aka retcon. Notice how B-15's glows violet, unlike the others that glow orange. As we see later, orange is a color used to reset violators.
And then the other one's pruning, maybe.
So maybe violet is a setting used to stun a violator in amazing slow motion.
True. Yeah, it controls time. I thought she punched him right there, and that's what did it, but I guess it was her purple baton.
Yikes, she is forcing Loki to feel all of this pain, but dilate it out 16 times longer than he should. Punishment via time dilation is actually a recurring theme on the show Black Mirror, in which this episode was this white.
No, it wasn't White Christmas.
Wyatt Russell's character in a time dilated.
Oh yeah, Wyatt Russell's in that episode.
This timeline with
what the heck?
Reset charge that begins orange and then turns purple. Now, previously, purple sorcery has been associated with Agatha Harkness. Before that, Dormammu in the Dark Dimension.
Also, more is it Morbius the Bat?
Like this was considered a form of
he has red and purple.
Loki creator Michael Waldron wrote the latest draft of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And in an interview with MT, he teased that he may have been smart enough to include these.
I just watched
titles.
Did you set up
Real Rejects interview that guy too?
That you could cash in later on in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, or call back anything in Doctor Strange from Loki?
I think that's something you'll have to watch it all and find out. Find out if I was that smart or not.
And we'll talk about more.
He is that smart.
So we arrive at the TVA.
Is Loki gonna be in Multiverse Madness?
Often colored with
I think he will be.
Scorching orange. This color was often used in early 70s designs to come off as warm.
We haven't had any leaks about Multiverse Madness. I think a lot is gonna happen.
And tortuous, much like
we're gonna see a lot of people probably.
So another variant is a Skrull wearing a tracksuit. Skrulls, of course, the shape-shifting race seen in Captain Marvel, Spider-Man Far From Home, WandaVision. Skrulls are just gonna start showing up everywhere.
Yeah, Secret Invasion actually sounds really cool. I know nothing about it except the main plot of it.
Twisters are actually beings created by accident during the creation of the Time Keepers. They move backward in time and destroy all in their path. Here, the device is a remote leash to whomever is wearing the collar. Comedian Josh Fado plays variant named Martin.
My dad is on the board of Golden Sons.
With a name like Martin, I gotta wonder if he could be based on Martin Shkreli. But either way, how did this rich brat from Earth end up as a timeline variant? Could this be Jimmy Woo's witness in federal witness protection who went missing with no explanation? Are we ever gonna get an answer to that?
Yeah, we didn't get an answer to that.
Eugene Cordero plays TVA clerk named Casey.
I thought it was just another version of Loki, maybe.
Later in the episode, the ink will leak more and more into his shirt. Poor guy. Here he takes
wow, Casey.
Tell me what it is. It's the Tesseract. Be very careful with it.
Sounds dumb.
Sounds dumb.
Tesseract is dumb because he has a ton of confiscated space stones, none of them stored in a stupid Tesseract. Also, maybe Casey knows a Tesseract.
There's a lot in there. I wonder if Eric is gonna find anything else.
Of being seen by human 3D perception, but he doesn't know what a fish is. I love it. Loki meets this pervy declothing bot who greets them with a slow forming smile that ends with the right eye twitching a bit. Just a little unnerving.
I didn't notice that.
Stripping you naked glitch, but as we will see, the TVA's clockwork is a bit glitchy in general. The transcript room features a cat who's also on this guy's mug.
Or a flirkin. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said.
solitaire on his little orange display when Loki dropped in. Poor guy. His wall clock, like all the clocks we see in the TVA, features multiple hands.
Yeah,
and more
so
than
many.
20
Oh my
meters
gosh.
circumference. Everything Loki has ever
Time
said
passes
is
differently in the
printed out
TVA,
on
that's
his
what they said.
matrix printer, though as someone who's over 1,000 years old, I would think that stack should be way larger. And then Loki gets his body scanned for his temporal aura.
Passes the
Prints out on
capture.
Polaroid film, kind of like a heat index, but presumably for time, almost like instant carbon dating. And the attendant asks,
Please confirm to your knowledge that you are not a fully robotic being. We're born an organic creature and do in fact possess what many cultures would call a soul.
I wonder what
yeah,
the
he
aura
specifies
thing is.
fully robotic and born organic because we know cybernetically reassembled beings like Nebula probably have a
true.
soul, I think, but also just like this idea that there are Ultron-like robots out there that are trying to pass as organic life forms. Bringing up an interesting question that Loki asks.
Do a lot of people not know if they're robots? What if I was a robot and I didn't know it?
Yeah, some existential.
Why does that
panic from
melt
Loki
you though if you're a
recalling
robot?
the Voight Kemp
Like
test
robots
of
just
Blade
can't,
Runner
you
that
can't
was
reset
used
the
to
time
test
of
AI
robots
replicants who might not even know
if they break
they're
the
robots.
TVA.
This is one first step by Loki from godly arrogance to mortal fear. Now the next room has this poster showing Miss Minutes
Behave
warning,
or you'll
"Hey,
get your
you'll
clock
cleaned," which is literally what
cleaned.
the Minutemen do with their ret cannons to reset people's clocks. Actually, there are great TVA posters everywhere in this place. Zero
Yeah, there are.
tolerance over the ticket check-in window.
It seems like a bad
Zero
place.
tolerance over whether or not you got a ticket. Later, there's one showing a shadowy suited figure reading "Always Watching." You can see a better
Pointed
shot of
that
the
out.
words. Just a big brotherian warning from the high ranks of the TVA.
And there's one that's
Another
like
saying, "Stable
prune.
society, tidy timeline," with a dude pruning branches and a poor bird looking at him while he does so. Just an example of how the TVA doesn't really care about any worthy life in new branch timelines.
So you can either reset the branch, try to make it normal, or you could just prune it and get rid of it completely, which is terrifying. And that's what the evil Loki is collecting too, the prune canisters. Or the recess canisters.
Events must be pruned. But of course, we get this adorable animation from TVA mascot Miss Minutes, voiced by Tara Strong in a southern accent, kind of like Mr. DNA explaining the science of Jurassic Park.
Oh, Mr. DNA, where did you come from? From your blood.
Hey, by the way, we
What do I not
have a
remember that? What the heck?
Loki-inspired merch lineup at our merch store, NewRockstarsMerch.com, in which Ms. Minutes shows up quite a bit, in which you can show some
Ooh.
worship of this Ms. Minutes figure. Check it out, NewRockstarsMerch.com. So Miss Minutes explains a
Miss
new
Minutes.
MCU history.
Long ago, there was a vast multiversal war.
I really like
but
this
then the
explanation
all-knowing
and everything.
Timekeepers emerged,
But it seems
bringing
fake.
peace by reorganizing the multiverse into a single timeline.
It makes sense,
Sacred timeline.
but I doubt it at the same time.
According to this, the MCU used to exist as a multiverse of timelines that warred with each other, but the Timekeepers interfered with that natural state, deciding to merge
Timekeepers
all
are
the timelines
just
into one
Marvel
secret timeline,
Studios.
and that everything we have seen
The
in
other
MCU so
timelines were
far has been a
Sony,
kind of intermediary
all that stuff.
time. See, in the comics, the three
Marvel Studios come
Timekeepers
together,
named
makes one
Azkaban,
sacred
Zora, are
timeline.
creations of He Who Remains, the final TVA agent at the end of all time, to pass on lessons to the next universal cycle. But as neutral time deities, these guys are kind of assholes. They at times partner with folks like Immortus, aka Kang the Conqueror, to wage conflict with the Avengers. So this TVA slogan of "for all time always" is at least somewhat a lie. Like, it hasn't been always. There was a whole other stage of the universe where things were a multiverse. So this is really
True.
a myth cooked up to inflate their importance. And actually, you can see at the bottom, this was written by the Time Variance Authority Narrative Commission, proving that
Oh.
they have an in-house propaganda department. This is like it's like
Ew.
the Big Brother Ministry of Truth. But back to the cartoon, the past multiversal war is represented by this interesting fuselage in deep space. Maybe we're seeing the aftermath of a conflict among the Celestials, because we know from the severed head of the
Oh,
Celestial Nowhere
Eternals.
that some
Gonna be so
war
good.
caused that. Maybe they're gonna go with the comics and say the symbiote deity Null decapitated him, but I think the Celestials are gonna be involved with it. And then we follow some animation inspired by Rocky Bullwinkle, specifically the Mr. Peabody and Sherman shorts. We follow this yellow man in a bow tie, whose variants toggle from a sea captain to this brute to a mug to a mad scientist to a top hat
Mugman?
guy.
Hello?
But notice
Cuphead?
how each incorporates his bow tie. He's still essentially the same snob.
Oh, yeah.
If this does represent
Just a variant.
Loki, we do later see Loki in a turtleneck from trailer footage, and that top hat form could be Loki as Jack the Ripper, maybe another real-world mystery that Loki could
maybe.
have behind when he was DB
We only
Cooper.
got
And we also see this
5
yellow man
episodes
leading
left.
some kind of
I don't know how
uprising in a
much
battle involving a race
gonna
that
go into
looks a
all
bit
this.
like the Kree. Meanwhile, the ships on the right look a lot like the ruins of Titan, Thanos' home world that we saw in
Oh,
Infinity
it
War.
kind
So
of, yeah.
maybe this uprising is against the Titan colony of Eternals that Thanos' father Alars established. And then Miss Minutes goes on.
Stepping off your path created a Nexus event, which left unchecked could branch
You know what's
off
weird? I'm
into
gonna pause it.
madness,
Yeah.
leading to
Okay, let's let
another
this part finish.
multiversal war.
Nexus.
Okay. Yeah, Nexus, of course, from WandaVision. Something I'm wondering is like I doubt the TVA, and I bet we all do. We all think it's probably like an evil place, or at least Miss Minutes and probably some of the higher ups of the TVA are evil. But how? It's like still magical and stuff because there's still the Infinity Stones there, unless they're props or something. But even Loki, the god, and the Tesseract there don't do anything. They have no effects. So it's still like a pretty magical, powerful place. Either way, even if it is fake or not.
Events reminding us how WandaVision defined the Scarlet Witch as a Nexus being.
And he's
a
your
character in the Marvel
doctor.
Comics with the ability to rewrite reality, serving as a linchpin, bridging their reality with others, and by saying branch off into madness, leading to another multiversal war. Yeah, I think it's a strong sign that the sacred timeline here could be doomed to unravel, leading to a repeat of the historical cycle in Doctor
Yeah.
Strange and the
Oh, if
Multiverse
everything's a
of
cycle, that's
Madness,
kind of cool.
in which Wanda's search for her children via the Darkhold could cause another spark between realities. And Miss Minutes ends with,
Just make sure you have your ticket and you'll be seen by the next available attendant.
yeah, notice how Miss Minutes is an extreme close-up here. Just a very stern warning signaling just how seriously they take tickets. And Martin says,
Yeah.
Raising your voice with me, Buckethead.
yeah, I love that they
Buckethead.
kept in Fathom's little stammer on the word raising, and Martin gets horrifically reset, and Loki shows his ticket like all the passengers in Indiana Jones and Last
He gets so
But before
scared
we
right
continue,
there.
This video is brought to you by Curiosity Stream, the award-winning destination for little horns, like
Mhm.
Loki's horned crown, leading us to Aix-en-Provence, France, 1549. TVA agent Mobius Owen Wilson is based on Mobius M. Mobius in the comics. We also heard the word
Mobius
back in
M.
Endgame when
Mobius.
Tony Stark figured out
We did?
time travel.
In the shape of a Mobius strip. And
Oh, yeah.
Please.
Now, some mystery killer lured in
I still don't know how he
here
solved
to steal
time
their
travel right
reset
there.
charge, using an anachronistic
I don't think anyone
item
does. He
dropped
just
in the
goes,
past. In this case,
whoa.
Kablooey gum given to a kid.
A Bluey. He's got the blue tongue,
Devil's afraid of us.
just like the
Get this
kid.
out of the way. No, this is not Mephisto. The series creators
Yeah, I
confirmed
know.
It's
I read
really
it.
just meant to reflect Loki as a horned, ambitious god, like Lucifer, cast out of his heaven. We get a further clue when Mobius is handed Loki variant L1130's rap sheet. It's all listed out here. He is Loki Laufeyson because he was actually born son of Laufey, the frost giant from Jotunheim, before becoming Odin's ward, thus his alias of
Odin's son.
His sex is listed as fluid. Haha. So this is a huge
'Cause he's
confirmation
a
of the theories
shapeshifter?
that we've had for over
Or
a
just
year now, that the
in
ultimate
general?
Loki that they are chasing is in fact a female form, probably played by Sophia DiMartino, most likely going to be Lady Loki. Now in the comics, Lady Loki isn't really an
I don't know why
alternate
they made her
timeline
look
Loki,
so
but
much like
rather
Black
a
Widow in the trailer, though.
post-Ragnarok female body intended for a reincarnated soul of Lady Sif, but instead
Oh.
possessed by the soul of Loki. Now this episode did clarify that
Oh,
Loki
okay.
has a soul, but I think they're going to be using timeline logic instead.
They're just gonna change her a little bit for this,
Simpler.
possibly.
Now, in the courtroom are murals depicting figures with red sashes and a legal scale. These must be the TVA judges. And one of those judges with his glasses and his mustache
Looks
looks kind of like a younger Stan Lee.
Oh,
Other
kind of,
murals show
yeah.
TVA clerks.
I was gonna say,
These could be the chronomonitors and
what's his
Army
name
of
from
Women.
Batman?
On the other side, the timekeepers
Gordon?
overseeing
I don't know.
the sacred timeline. Presiding over Loki's case with the three timekeeper faces looming behind is Justice Ravonna Renslayer Gugu Mbatha-Raw, who in the comics is associated with Kang the Conqueror. One of the many reasons I've been speculating this time-traveling villain, confirmed to come up in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, played by Jonathan Majors, might show up.
Oh, yeah,
in
he
the
is
show.
coming in
Loki casts
Ant-Man.
blame on the Avengers.
Oh, believe me, you can
Forgot about
smell
that.
the cologne of two Tony Starks.
A callback to Ant-Man making fun of Tony's scent.
Is that Axe body spray? Yeah, I had a can on the desk for emergencies. Relax.
And Mobius shows Loki that TVA, the vast grid of
Emergencies.
spires and platforms, all with numerical designations. It was ET282. This all seems to go on forever, likely the MCU's version of the null time zone, the TVA home
Yeah, wait,
dimension
I
that's removed
didn't
from
notice that
time and
before.
space. And Loki responds by saying,
It never ends.
That's another department. Now that department I'll help you burn down.
Huh. Now, what would these time cops care about people's nightmares? Unless maybe their power comes from another dimension where cosmic beings like Nightmare reside.
Oh yeah, we thought he would be in WandaVision.
A villain to Doctor Strange, who could show up in the second Doctor Strange movie. But I also like the theory that maybe when things are retconned, they live on in people's subconsciouses, and that's where nightmares come from. Now, the elevator buttons all correspond to some 3-character alphanumeric code that don't seem to refer to anything specific yet, but I think it's just a sign of how complex and Dewey Decimal like the different floors of the TVA
yeah,
are.
there's so much.
These appear on the screen, the code 1EJ is immediately hit with access denied. So there is some part of the TVA that is off limits. Now, in the time
Maybe that main building right there being held up.
Shasta, a discontinued soft drink from the late 90s, similar to that Boku fruit juice that we've seen in the trailer footage. The TVA might be able to access all the food and drinks.
These are all real drinks.
Anymore. And in this interrogation, Loki explains why he wanted to rule.
I would have made it easy for them. The first and most oppressive lie ever uttered was the Song of Freedom.
Yes, connecting to his speech in Germany, which Mobius actually shows him among his greatest hits in the TVA Hollow projector.
The bright lure of freedom diminishes your life's joy in a mad scramble for power.
Now, Mobius reminds Loki about Agent Coulson.
Oh yeah, Phil Coulson.
Yeah. Then the Avengers.
Come together to literally avenge him.
I never knew that until this episode, so I was like I was actually surprised. Or maybe I just forgot that they came together that way.
Though don't worry, if this ends with the sacred timeline blowing up into a multiverse, one of those alternate timelines could just be the one Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is all set in. So we're still good. I think.
True, because it isn't canon, but they did show it in the Marvel Studios 10 years of celebration trailer or whatever.
That was a Cap subplot that was cut from that first Avengers movie, or we can now look at it as a pruned branch storyline that Mobius could be interested in. And we learned Loki was real-life mystery hijacker DB Cooper.
I thought this was gonna be like a whole episode on its own.
Yeah, William Scott was actually the name of the pilot of that Northwest Orient 305 in 1971, when DB Cooper, or someone using that alias, hijacked.
It's just a little different from the real life one, because the real life one they jump out at like he jumps out in like nighttime during the rain.
The fact that all they ever found of DB Cooper was some cash floating in the Columbia River. It was all Loki all along.
Oh no!
And it was all
I hear the song too much.
Lost a bet to Thor, who's all in on
I liked it when it first came out, but it's been outplayed so many times.
Loki up. You can see the moment in Loki's eyes when he spots the time twister in his pocket, and notice how his swipe is distracted by B-15's entrance.
Oh, wow.
While Loki sneaks around, another variant gets detained in the
Quick
background.
hands.
I gotta say, it looks a bit
Yeah.
like Peggy Carter, doesn't it? Just would be interesting because according to the Endgame directors, Cap living his
It really
life
does.
with Peggy created a branch timeline, with the TVA might now consider to be a variant nexus violation. Though really the variant perpetrator in that case would be old Steve, not his poor wife, so I don't know. So Loki sneaks off and finds Casey, who returns the Tesseract and reveals a whole evidence drawer filled with variant Infinity Stones.
Like they didn't take Hulk or Ant-Man for knocking the suitcase near Loki.
Got a lot of those. Some of the guys use them as paperweight.
Casey.
So how do they get these? Well, maybe each variant they've caught.
Yeah, so I wonder why they chose Loki specifically. Like he broke the rules when really Hulk knocked over the thing towards him. A whole butterfly effect happened. That's why I just doubt the TVA. It lines up like sometimes, but a lot of things don't line up at the same time.
Now in this box you can see red reality stones, green time stones, purple power stones, blue space stones.
Why is the orange one the Mind Stone? Yeah, it's chunky.
No yellow Mind Stones available. And
Oh,
then Loki
true.
picks up a time stone, as if of all these, the one he would want the most is the ability to reverse time. Also in this drawer is a super rare T206 Honus Wagner baseball card, a casino chip for 5,000, and some kind of military medal. And then later in the end credits, you can actually see a Mind Stone being used as a paperweight. I also have to wonder what Casey meant by some of the agents use the Infinity
credits
Stones
are super
paperweights.
detailed too.
Could some past TVA agent have snatched one of these, went into the timeline, and started wreaking havoc to become Kang? I'm gonna go with that explanation. Kang Gang for life. B-15 finds Loki, tries to reset him, but instead erases
I know nothing about
Casey's
Kang.
evidence card, showing that in addition to the variants, people and things in the TVA can be retcanned to somewhere.
True, where do
Loki
they
scrubs
go?
back through Frigga's
That's what I'm
death,
wondering, because there's
music
reset and there's pruning. We don't know which one that is. or where the objects go after they disintegrate.
Melody was composed by the local
Either way, it looks
composer,
bad.
Natalie Holt, who is clearly very talented, though I gotta mention this because it's amazing. She used to work as a backup musician on Britain's Got Talent, and she freaking egged Simon Cowell for ruining the music industry. A freaking badass.
What?
Loki also mourns
Not
Odin.
Simon Cowell.
Yeah, focusing on one of my favorite details from Thor Ragnarok,
That's messed
Tom
up.
Hiddleston's reaction to Odin finally considering Loki a son. And
Yeah, I should just post a whole video of Loki reacting to Thor Ragnarok. I was hoping someone would do it. Tom Hiddleston reacts to Thor Ragnarok.
Future Loki is saying this to our variant Loki, like the ghost of Christmas future, telling him to let go of his God King ambitions. And then notice as the film strip runs out, on the holo projector it reads Tail 112914, I think 71129114 Loki Laufeyson, meaning this is the tail end of the film reel. But the weird thing is, in the close-up of the film strip, as it goes across the projector reel, it says Tail 1ETH616, 1ETH616 Loki Laufeyson. And I only point that out because 616 is the numerical designation of the prime Marvel universe in the comics.
Yeah.
Technically, the MCU is Earth 199999. So Loki ends up confessing to Mobius.
I don't enjoy
So,
hurting people. It's
I wonder what that
part of
means.
the illusion.
So Loki, even
The one they're showing him is
was never a sadist.
different.
He's just a mischievous scamp who commits violence in order to gain power.
I don't know.
He's projecting an illusion of his fearsomeness. And that is the confirmation Mobius has been wanting with all this questioning. Really, this was all a Voight Camp test to determine if Loki had any humanity in him. And now that Mobius knows that he does, he gives Loki this assignment, a chance to destroy the worst parts of himself.
The variant we're hunting is you.
And so the epilogue goes to an oil field in Salina, Oklahoma in 1858.
And then
where
there's a
Hunter
lightsaber on the
United
ground, which is
investigates
literally a
this interesting
shovel.
device.
Time signatures early 3rd millennium. Definitely anachronistic.
Early 3rd millennium would be now, I guess? You think first millennium is 0 to year 1000. Second millennium is 1000 to 2000. So early 3rd millennium would be sometime between 2000 and 2300, I guess. Either way, it is a sign that we are looking at some villain with access to future technology. And here is our hooded villain, our evil.
Yeah, they had like a
variant,
futuristic
burning
shovel,
all
so.
Hellfire, as that stained glass demon foretold. Actually,
It's so weird that art,
moon, which to me recalls
that he has the blue
Joe
tongue, just like the kid.
Martino's character
I don't know
in
why that's weird to me,
Shadow
but
of
like,
Collapsing
maybe it'll mean
Moon.
something
Who
later
is
on.
she exactly? We will find out. Now, the end credit sequence is filled with cool visual details, so many that I actually have to break it down in a separate
a
video
lot.
tomorrow.
Oh, what?
A few things I gotta note here. Amongst a map pinned to an office wall is an equation whose name is partially obscured, but it looks like Schrodinger's equation. I'm not certain if this is actually Schrodinger's equation. Quantum physics nerds, forgive me if it isn't. He was one of the early theoretical
I wouldn't
physicists who
know.
really pioneered quantum mechanics that Loki's branch timeline logic is really based on. Schrodinger, of course, famous for his Schrodinger cat thought experiment, in which an unobserved cat is both alive and dead simultaneously, essentially saying we all kind of exist in separate realities. There's an apocalyptic event report describing the events of the D.B. Cooper hijacking from Seattle 1971. Just interesting that the TVA categorizes that as an apocalyptic event. Just making me think that they might consider it on par with events like the destruction of Pompeii, which we also will see in this series.
Oh yeah.
There's also a
Oh my
variant
gosh, we're gonna
diagram
explore so much
showing
stuff.
5 different variants. There's one with a circle head, and then the other head.
Oh yeah,
shaped as a
square, triangle, hexagon.
hexagon, and
Oh,
then
pentagon,
face,
hexagon.
just like the number of variants we saw the yellow cartoon guy have. And then the credit visuals end with the faces of the timekeepers of the courtroom punching in specifically on the center one before cutting to black, which I have said before does look a bit like the face of Jonathan Majors, who's going to play Kang. And interesting that Kang's lover Ravonna Renslayer was
It does look like
directly
Kane.
in that figure's
I don't know about the
lips.
dude's face.
And lastly,
That's
if you
kind of
stick
messed
around
up.
all the way to the end of the credits, you can hear the voice of who? Miss Minutes coming back.
Thanks for visiting the TV.
Oh, I didn't stick around
Don't
for
hesitate to let us
the
know
last
how we're doing.
couple
And
seconds.
after this great first episode, I think you guys are doing great.
Jeez, I need to
Another
stick around
reminder
for
to
the
support
entire
this
thing.
channel by checking out our great Loki-inspired merch options at NewRockstarsMerch.com. Follow me on Instagram and
Sick.
Twitter at EA Voss. Follow New Rockstars.
Do it.
Subscribe to New Rockstars for breakdowns of everything Loki.
Do it.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
They just hit 3 mil. Thank you, Erik. Thank you, EA Voss. Okay, well that was an interesting watch. I did get some extra notes in. He didn't explain his thoughts on what pruning versus resetting is, but I'm pretty sure we already know. I mean, well, he was wondering actually what happens when the thing gets disintegrated, but is the disintegration the pruning or is it the resetting? Because I know when they said let's reset this timeline at the beginning, they put down the thing and it was resetting it. But at the same time, I think those same objects can also prune a timeline and completely overthrow it and destroy it. Cut the branch off. As he said in the poster, the guy is pruning a branch, so they can cut off the entire timeline. What happened to that one guy that got disintegrated? Is he reset back to being a baby in his timeline? Back to the point of where he shifted his timeline? Or is he just completely pruned and his whole timeline is pruned right there? I don't know. That's my main thing that I'm wondering. And there's a loud plane going over, so I'm just gonna stop talking. But yeah, those little details like the Miss Minutes cartoon thing, saying that it was like made by the TVA people, which I mean of course it was, but like it seems like it was just set up like propaganda, as he was saying. So it makes me think more and more that the TVA is a bad place. I don't think Mobius himself is bad. I don't think most of the workers there are bad. I think the story that's being told of the timeline is the evil part. And maybe everyone there is being manipulated to do their job, but the timekeepers themselves are evil. Or they're made up and there's a higher up person just made up the timekeepers as like the gods of everything. But as we know, there was a multiverse before, if the TVA timeline is correct, if the little video was telling the truth. So the timekeepers aren't above everything, because there already was a universe before that. So, I don't know. Very mysterious still. I mean, of course, we're only one episode in. Can't wait for episode 2 on Wednesday, so stick around, stay tuned for that. I always post them by like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. So whenever they first come out at 12 a.m., just wait a couple hours and my video will be up. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys in the next video. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want, leave a like, dislike it if you want, comment your thoughts on Loki down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.